Hello and welcome to today's video. So this video is a bit of an interesting one. I've never done anything like this before, but essentially I uploaded my first ever book haul onto the channel around a year ago now. I uploaded it on the 2nd of April 2021, so you know, pretty much a year now, and I thought what could be fun to do is to rewatch it, like go through and look at it and see, have I actually read these books? Like these books that I keep buying, am I reading them? Is it worth my time? Like, am I wasting my time buying like all these books from charity shops? Like, these are my TBR shelves behind me, like you can't even see the full amount of them, and it's getting to be a lot. So do I actually read the books? So it's been 1 year. I would have hoped to have read 80 to 90%, honestly. Like, I'm okay with there being like a book or two that I haven't got around to yet, just because that's life. But overall, I would like to have read 80 to 90%. I don't know how many books are in this video. Looking at the thumbnail, it looks like there's around 12 books, but I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. You can't entirely make it out. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I've got my paper and pen to keep a track of what I've read and what I haven't read. I'm just going to be tallying it up and we can watch the video together. So yeah, read, unread, I'm going to tally mark it and we're going to see. Obviously I will put a nicer graphic on screen, not just the weird tally marks. But yeah, let's get into the video. So I'll skip through the first bit of it, and if I'm looking down it's because that's where the video is for me. I'm going to try my best to look at the camera as much as possible, but obviously the video is down here. So yeah, maybe if I move this, there we go, and then I should hopefully be able to put the video somewhere here. Okay, so let's watch it. Book number 1. I should actually also be wearing headphones, shouldn't I? Okay, headphones in, let's look at book 1. So the first book I brought of the year, Inheritance. This is the 4th book in the inheritance cycle, the first book being Eragon. I have not read this one yet. I haven't even started this series yet, and as I just said, it was the 4th book in the series. So yeah, Eragon, which is book 1 in the series, is on my list of books I either have to read this year or get rid of. It's on my like self-destruct list, so I think I will get around to it soon, but I haven't read it. That's not a good way to start. Okie dokie, what was book number 2? Then the second book of the year I got was Little Women. I've had this recommended to me so much. I haven't read Little Women either, of course I haven't. I don't really read my classics, they just keep building up. I'm determined to start reading them. Oh, this could be worse than expected. So yeah, 2 points to the unread, not great. Okay, let's find the next book. I'm not watching the entire video because I know I'm going to have spoken loads about the books. If you are interested in the books I'm talking about, I will have linked the actual video, but yeah, like I'm not interested in hearing me talk about books that I know about because I've already spoken about them. But yeah, wow, I'm really going on about this one. Then I also ordered the Umbrella Academy volume 1. This is Apocalypse Suite. I read this one. I've actually read it. I didn't like it, but I've read it, and that's something, I think. I am noticing that these all look like they're new books, so that's interesting. Like, so far these are all books that I brought new. Normally I shop second hand, so I don't know, maybe this was just books I really knew I wanted to read soon. So far the tally is not looking like that, so I don't know. Yeah, it was an alright book, but to be honest, it's one of those where the TV show was better, so reading the book I felt like I was missing out on stuff that could have been put in the book because they did the TV show so much better. So yeah, unfortunately that's all I can really say on that one. Then next I got Red Queen. This is the book and I absolutely love this like cover. I think it looks so pretty. okay, I've read Red Queen, and the Red Queen series overall, I think there's about 6 books, was actually one of my favourite series that I read last year. I mean, it was tied between a few that I read and like completed the series. I think there was 2 or 3 series that I completed last year that were like really up there. But yeah, Red Queen was one of those. Like Red Queen opened my eyes to like going back and exploring that like great side of fantasy that I always loved growing up, but for some reason as an adult I didn't think of reading. But yeah, now I'm reading and I'm loving it. So yeah, this was a really good one. So 2 for 2. We'll see how we go from here on. Now, next is Heartstopper Volume 1. Okay, Heartstopper Volume 1. I've read it. I have read it. Another tally. Yeah, this was great. Honestly, this was another one of those that I read Volume 1 and I just binged the entire series. I think Volume 4 came out last year and it was one that I purchased like brand new. I was like, yeah, I need to read it straight away. But yeah, this was great. I think I gave it 5 stars. I think I've given all the Heartstopper 5 stars. And yeah, this was a really good one. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Then next I got The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. I've read this one as well. Okay, this is going better than expected, to be honest. Yeah, so I read The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. It was one of the books that I read early on last year. I remember really enjoying it. I definitely had a few issues with it, with the naivety, I think, was the main point that I was a bit like, But yeah, it was a YA book, so I can't be that surprised. And yeah, I did really enjoy this. I've still got it on the shelves. I would definitely recommend it if you wanting to get into more like sci-fi things. And the way it was written and the way it explored everything going on was interesting. And it did have twists that I did not see. So yeah, I mean, once the twist had happened, the rest of it I felt like was quite self-explanatory. But yeah, it was really great and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, would recommend. Then next, this is the only book that I've brought new so far this year, and it's called Flea. It's a very thin little book. I didn't know what to expect from it, but I was basically placing a stationery order and I needed like an extra 50p or something in my basket to make it free delivery, and this book was £2, so I was like, let's give it a go, let's try it. So as I said there, this was one that I added to my basket to make up the free delivery part of the order, and it was interesting. Honestly, the thing that made me want to get this book was the fact that the cat on the front looks like my 2 cats merged into one, and it was fun. But I enjoy middle grade books, but this was even younger than what I'd normally read. I feel like it was super short, and the author had obviously written other books in the past, and those books were mentioned a lot within the book. Like at least 3 or 4 times I seem to remember other books or like the previous book being mentioned, even though this was a standalone book. And it really hurt me the wrong way. So yeah, I have read it, so you know, I'm now 5 for 2. But it's a difficult one because I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it, but I also wouldn't say I enjoy it. It was very much middle ground. The story was light, fluffy and fun, but other things about it got on my nerves. So yeah, Grimm's Fairy Tales. And yeah, this is another little simple one. I have not read it though, even though it is a little simple one. I have not. It's again another one that's just on this classic shelf that I really need to start prioritising. So yeah, have not read that one, unfortunately. It's one that I'm still really interested in and really want to read, but I just haven't got around to it yet. Next up we have Heartstopper Volume 2. Yeah, so I've read this one. As I said before, I've read all the Heartstoppers that are currently out. Absolutely loved it. It was great, and it was a great continuation of the story as well. There's not really a lot I can say. It's a great graphic novel, lots of representation, lots of real feelings, and Alice Oseman does an amazing job with these, and it's actually now being turned into a TV show as well, so that's fun. Then I purchased this book, which is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And I don't know what I was about to keep saying there, but that was enough. I've read this one as well, which is great. Yeah, this was a good book. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the stories and how they're wove together. There's essentially 4 separate stories that were just surrounding this little cafe, and you go in there and sometimes there is the chance and opportunity to travel through time back to the cafe on a different date. And it was really good. And the way it was woven together, the 4 different stories, even though they were separate, as the reader we could see bits linking them together. It was really fun and it was really good, and I would 100% recommend it. Yeah, it's as simple as that really. When a book's good you can just say I recommend it, but when a book's bad, that's when you've got lots to moan about. Next up we have Fangs. Yeah, I read this one as well. It was a lot of fun. This was a really easy, simple one. You know, you read it in like less than half an hour. It's just a cute graphic novel, but honestly it's so beautiful, and it's the first real like comedy graphic novel I would say that I've read and enjoyed, and I think it was just because it's just little tidbits of everyday life. This book is a vampire and a werewolf who are considering dating or start dating or whatever, and it's just fun everyday life comedy really. And yeah, really enjoyed it, and it's also a beautiful book and it's amazing. Then I got Heartstopper Volume 3. Volume 3, obviously I've read this one, I've already told you I've read all of them. I think Volume 3 is my favourite one so far, maybe. It's really difficult to decide because they do lead on and follow on in such an amazing way. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story in Volume 3 and just knowing what went on, what happened, and I feel like you got to know the like main characters and the side characters quite a bit better in this one as well. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. This is the second book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. It is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. Yeah, this was another great one. It followed on from book 1 and same sort of setup, 4 separate stories, but as the reader you can see them weaving together. And there's also a bit of a mixture between like book 1 and book 2. You definitely want to read them in order. And yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a really great time. And to be honest, I don't really think there's more I can say about this. It's one of those where I feel like knowing more going into it would deter from the experience, so I'd just say go into it blind and yeah, give it a go, because it really is a lot of fun. I'm also realising at this point I definitely did not calculate how many books were in the thumbnail correctly, as I've currently read 10 and not read 3, and there's still a couple I think on that pile behind me, so let's find out if I've read these last ones. And then the last book. This is the last one. This one is People from My Neighbourhood. I've read this one as well. Okay, this is great. Okay, yeah, I've also read People from My Neighbourhood. This was a bit more of a difficult one for me. The stories weren't as vivid, I would say is the best way to describe them, as I expected. The stories in there were weird and wonderful, and they definitely had those like whimsical fantasy elements in there. And I did enjoy the book overall. Like, I do remember enjoying it. I also remember it not quite fitting together well, and I think it was some of the stories were so short that the amount of time it took you to change from like the story before it to that story, it was over. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't vibe with that one quite as much, which is a shame, to be honest, because I did expect a lot going in. I still gave it 4 stars and I still really enjoyed it. The stories didn't quite work for me. It was objectively a great book, but the stories just didn't quite work for me. So yeah, those were all of the books. So does this work? I would say honestly, based on this first video, I've read 11 of them and not read 3 of them, which is 78.57%, 11 over 14, so I've read 78.5%, which I'm happy with, honestly. As I said at the start, I think the perfect number would be between 80 and 90%. So to have read 78.5, I think I'm doing pretty well, to be honest. So yeah, those were all the books. I enjoyed this video, I enjoyed watching it. I was more nervous going into it. I definitely think I'm going to have to do this again with like a bigger book haul video, because I feel like the percentages are not going to always be as in my favour as this has turned out to be. I brought a lot of books last year, like most of these shelves were filled up last year, and obviously these are unread. So yeah, I'll maybe go through at some point and see if there's like a bigger one, or one that's like maybe entirely second hand or like entirely charity shop. So I do think it's the charity shop one, where if I see a book and it's cheap, even if I don't intend to read it anytime soon, I pick it up because it's cheap. Like literally the other day, like this won't have been in a video yet, I picked up Prodigy by Marie Lu. I don't even own book one of this series, but I saw this one for, I think it was like £1.50, and I was like, well, I better get it whilst I can see it. Yeah, so it is a problem, and it is something that I think with the charity shop videos, I would get a different ratio. So if you liked this video and enjoyed it, do give it a like, and if you do think I should do it with a charity shop video, leave me a comment down below, or just a comment suggesting whatever the hell you want. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do give it a like, subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.